What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. This is something I think most people missed out on, actually, so I wanted to go over it. Riot are doing a lot more posts about what they're up to and stuff, but they are so long, you have to read through like 90% of it to find the 10% that's actually really interesting. Anyway, let me know what you think and which of the tanks you reckon are getting reworks with this, but let's just get straight in. So basically, Riot has this thing called the Nexus, which is where they give game updates and plans of what they're going to do in future, or maybe just thoughts about things they've done in the past. This whole thing, though, was about champion updates, so the last Assassin one and how they thought that went and what we're looking at moving towards now. Let's start with the biggest thing, though, which is we now know that tanks are going to be the next class to get a full scale update, just like the assassins, mages, and the marksmen did in the past. This is where they normally do between 4 and 6 major reworks. They completely change the champions and they target the rest with smaller stuff. The bigger reworks will be stuff like Malzahar, Graves, LeBlanc, Talon, Rengar. They're changing them in bigger ways. The smaller ones are like Fizz, Kha'Zix, Shaco, maybe just small parts of their kit, but basically they do the same job as before in the same ways. Lucky for us, though, with this lovely new client that they've given us, they actually group the classes together, and this is the tank class. So this is what they're targeting. Now with the assassin one, for example, there were 15 champions grouped as assassins, and these 10 were actually changed, 4 of which were major updates and full reworks. There are actually only 17 tanks, so we can probably guess around 10 will be changed with 4 to 5 major reworks. That's a guess, but just basing it on what Riot has done previously because they're about the same size. Now Riot have actually said, though, they're looking at the whole tank class, but they're focusing on initiating tanks. The aim is to give tanks an improvement curve, so make it feel like the more you play the champion, the more you can do with them. That means that you should be able to use skills in different ways and be able to display some sort of mechanics as well, not just as brain dead as now at least. It's initiating tanks, or vanguards is what they call them, basically like a Mumu apparently. They go in, they do AoE crowd control, and then they stand around doing damage to people around them. That is what pretty much every one of these champions looks like at the moment. That's part of what they want to change. They want to make it so they all do different things in different ways. This is also where a rework of the tank items is most likely coming in now as well. They want tanks to get more benefit from tank items than if others built them. They should be the tankiest champions in the game, and not just because they build tank items. Like some other random champion could build tank items and still get very tanky. That's what they kind of want to change. So if we use all of this information, let's take a look at the class of tanks again and see whether we can work out who is likely going to be. So number 1, Amumu is mentioned in the post. The definition, they say, of an engaged tank, so it's very likely he is going to get targeted. He's also a very old champion. Number 2, Maokai is basically the same. He fits the dive in, AoE damage, lockdown and stuff, but they also use an image of him in the post, so that's probably a little clue that he might be up as well. I'm basically 99% sure it's not going to be Galio in this because he's getting a whole champion rework, which is being worked on right now. It's also unlikely Alistar is going to be in there because he's more of a support anyway, but he's also got a mini rework recently. The next 3, Shen, San, and Poppy, they all had champion reworks not that long ago, so would they really rework these guys again? Especially with Shen and San, I'm not sure they actually would. They seem to be okay at the moment, but with Poppy, like, they've had some issues with Poppy a lot, and they might take this as a chance to tweak her again. These 3 at least probably aren't going to be the big ones, but they might be in the smaller rework category. So really then, if we look for AoE crowd control and damage around them as an engager, we have Malphite, Sejuani, Nautilus, Rammus, and Zac. Supports aren't likely to really be in this one, from what I can tell at least anyway. They are engagers, but they don't have the gold income to become massive tanks, so that rules out Leona and Blitzcrank most likely. We're left with Cho'Gath, Jarvan, and Singed then, and Cho'Gath, he's an outdated champion. It could be very likely actually, though he doesn't really fit the engaged type of tank, so that maybe throws it out. Jarvan definitely does fit the dive in type of champion though, with AoE crowd control and damage, so he could be there. It's actually probably likely. Singed is an engager kind of, but I'm not sure I'd class him as a tank like a Mumu, possibly though. So there could also be others that aren't listed in this kind of class. They might move some into it. Rek'Sai is one that springs to mind, but I know they have said she is getting a smaller rework already. When they actually announced that she was getting a rework, they didn't make it sound like it was part of this class update either. So this is all just speculation based on the information they have given us, but I think these are pretty likely, and we know at least it's these type of champions getting a full update and tank items. Now I'm not going to make this video too long, but there is some more interesting stuff here as well. So in terms of full champion reworks, we now have Galio, Evelynn, and Urgot confirmed. Galio is being worked on right now by one of the team of designers, and he should be the next rework we see, so we won't have to wait too long for that one. Once that rework has been completed, that team is going to move on to Evelynn, and a second team of designers is right now working on Urgot though, after finishing Warwick. The order is most likely going to be Galio, then Urgot, then Evelynn in terms of release, if Galio and Urgot are already being worked on. Now we do have a little bit more information about this kind of. Galio, surprisingly, even though he's next, we don't actually have that much. They want to keep him as a tank and a mage, so we definitely know that part, but the focus is on actually having traits from both classes. For Evelynn, they are completely rebuilding her champion skill set. The aim aim is to make her primarily a damage source and an assassin. They want to make her abilities more interactive, not just spamming the keyboard and breaking that thing, and make her less oppressive to play against. One thing is they aren't going to remove her permastealth though, which is what a lot of people were worried about, or they're not planning to remove it, at least right now. They like the idea, but it's just too strong in the early game. Somehow they want to shift some power away from her permastealth into the rest of her kit. I'm not really sure how they're going to do that, to be honest. Like, permanent stealth is just permanent stealth, right? Like, there's not much they can do to make that weaker unless they make the radius to be seen massive, which defeats the point a little bit. By the way, they're also going to be giving her a full visual update though as well, so we're going to get brand new model for Evelyn and everything else for the skins as well. With Urgot, they have finally decided on a direction to take this guy, but sadly they are not going to be sharing that much right now. They've only just begun working on him. We do know he's getting a full visual update though, so the models in game are going to be completely different, but the only thing we know kit wise is that some of his kit will stay the same and some of it will be completely brand new. Which parts are actually going to keep, they haven't said yet, but at least he's going to be a brand new style to play when he does get released. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was just a quick update on this stuff because I think most people actually missed it when it came out like a week ago, but this is a pretty big deal in my opinion. Anyway, thank you for watching, but for now, let's go to the robots.